This is For Verts. My name is Harrison Graham, and on today's show, we're going to explore some college football hot seat rumors, some big names that could be on the hot seat, and we're going to get to a coach in a minute that has already been fired in the middle of the season. But the way this will work is simple. We have three categories of where these coaches could be placed. Cool, which means it's probably not too warm yet, but if things continue to go south, you could end up being on the hot seat. Warm means it's heating up. Certainly could be in some trouble. And hot means you better start winning immediately. Otherwise, these schools are probably going in a new direction. And it was scalding hot for Mike Gundy going into the Tulsa game this past Friday night. And that proved to be the case because when they lost, everyone on the internet, Oklahoma State boosters started saying it is time for a change. And 4 days later, that change has come. Oklahoma State has fired Mike Gundy, a legend there, his alma mater, after 21 years as the head coach and several more under Les Miles as the assistant head coach. These situations are always delicate. These situations are always tough. You never want to have to fire a legend. But the bottom line is Mike Gundy in the year of 2025 doesn't really fit this era of college football. He's very old school. He's not a believer in the transfer portal. He doesn't like NIL, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're not going to embrace those things and you're going to be an embarrassment with your on-field product, then they're going to fire you. And that is what Oklahoma State just had to do. They didn't have a choice. They wanted to do it this offseason, and they didn't because he's a legend and he agreed to a lower buyout and to a smaller contract. And they said, okay, let's see how it goes in 2025. And then you lose to Tulsa and you fire him because you're 4-11 in your last 15 games. It's tough because, again, he's a legend. 170 wins, a couple of BCS and New Year's Six wins. He won the Big 12 a couple of times, 12 bowl game victories. No one is disputing Mike Gundy is one of the better coaches in college football over the last 25 years, but the sport has changed a lot, and he hasn't changed with it. And it's not even that you have to change who you are. You just have to change how you view things. Like, listen, it's going to happen to all of us, right? When I'm 50, 60 years old, I'm sure there will be something where my kids or people in their 20s are like, oh, that's dad or grandpa just being a boomer, except for I'm a millennial, whatever they'll call it. This is Mike Gundy being a boomer. Like, he doesn't want to change. And if you don't want to change and you keep winning, that's fine, but you're not winning. You're losing at home to Tulsa for the first time in 75 years. It's just – It had to end, and it's a shame that in the middle of the season it ends this way. I would guess, and I'm sure we'll hear more information, that they gave him the opportunity to kind of announce on his own terms, like, hey, this will be my last season. He's not doing that. That he wanted to force them to fire him, and that is what has happened here. All right, we'll take a look at some other coaches on the hot seat as we go. But if you want college football, NFL videos every single day, we are the channel for you. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and do not miss out. Okay, Billy Napier, hot. That is the category he is in. And he's not a legend like Mike Gundy at the University of Florida. They hired him from Louisiana Lafayette, and it has not gone well. Year one is a disaster. There was some progress last year, and obviously with the recruitment of DJ Lagway and the upside he showed a year ago, they ended up keeping Napier for this year, which I defended that move because they played better down the stretch. You didn't want to lose Lagway to the portal. Okay, bring back Billy. Well, they're 1-3, and Lagway is struggling and looks like a player who's regressed. He is not confident right now whatsoever. You could tell he was trigger shy against Miami over the weekend after throwing 5 interceptions against LSU the week before. I mean, you look at this schedule. Who are they beating? Who are they beating? They're not beating Texas. We could say whatever we want about Arch Manning. Texas is a better team than Florida right now. They're going to go to A&M and win. Mississippi State's 4-0. Georgia, at Kentucky, maybe. It's a road game, though. At Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State, they could lose out. They could go 1-11. Now, they'll probably win a game or two, but regardless, there is almost no path to bowl status. I think if they lose to Texas in ugly fashion, they could pull the plug because this team and this quarterback, it's just not trending in the right direction. And, the completion percentage, all that stuff looks fine, but He barely threw for 100 yards against – I don't even know if he threw for 100 yards against Miami. He threw 5 picks against LSU. You can tell he's rattled back there. And if the only reason to keep Napier was Lagway's further development, well, that's not happening. If anything, he's gone backwards. So I think you actually fire Napier soon, and assuming you don't beat Texas in the next game, and you hope whoever you name as the interim can get Lagway back on track, because maybe that would be enough to keep Lagway in the program. But look, in reality, you'll probably lose him to the portal too, but you kept him for that reason. But that one reason you kept him isn't paying off, so it doesn't really make sense to keep Billy Napier at this point, as he's well below 500 since taking over as this team's head coach. All right, 3 more coaches to get to, but first, we do have to tell you about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Your boy cleaned up this weekend, hit on a couple of nice lineups. I'm up about $300 right now with Prize Picks. It's very easy to play. You just pick more or less on stat projections for 2 to 6 player lineups. Lots of stats available, yards, passing, rushing, receiving, combo stats. You can do other sports as well within your lineup. Baseball players got the stretch run here. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player lineups. You're good to go. Prize Picks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Got a little college lineup here. Give me less on Garrett Nussmeier. That's a lot of passing yards, and he's kind of been up and down so far this season, the LSU QB, so I'll take the less there. I like Dante Moore to throw at least 1 touchdown pass, so give me the more on half a touchdown. And then Drew Aller, I'm taking the less 226.5 passing yards. In big games, Aller has not been as good and as productive, so I like the less on that number. $20 entry to win $75 right there. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Okay, let's go up to Wisconsin with Luke Fickell. I don't have a great feel for this one, so I'm going to say warm. But if I had to pick hot or cold, I would lean hot. I mean, this is year 3 now, and he's 15-15. This was a home run hire on paper at the time. Remember, he was the interim that one year at Ohio State, and people at the time were like, he's going to be the Ohio State head coach one day. Obviously, things change, and Ryan Day takes over once Urban leaves and all that stuff. Fickell goes to Cincinnati, does well there, goes to the college football playoff. Big Ten program, Wisconsin, home run. I mean, on paper, it's one of my favorite hires in the last 10 years in the sport. But it just goes to show sometimes even things that make sense don't work out. Now, there's been some varying circumstances for Fickell, who's 15-15. He's lost his starting quarterback in all 3 seasons. That is tough to overcome. But I watched Wisconsin play, and obviously part of hiring Fickell was to bring in a different type of coach. But, what are they always known for? Physicality, run the football, really good defense. They do none of those things. And, they've had the QB injury, so that hasn't helped. So you add this all up, you got to just average at best program where, hiring Fickell, the goal was to be not only maintain what they've been for a long time, which is really good, not great, try to be great. Well, now you're not even good. So it's not a great situation. Now, I don't think they would fire him midseason. I think he would get at least the rest of the year to try to get this thing on track. But I'm pretty surprised this hasn't worked out. I loved this hire at the time. I mean, it was so obvious. It was like, oh, Wisconsin's going to hire Luke Fickell, and they did, and it just hasn't worked out so far. So, we'll see if it gets turned around. I think his status is warm. It's not scalding hot yet, but clock is definitely ticking there. Okay, let's talk Dabo Swinney. I'll go cool. I don't think it's warm yet. They were in the college football playoff last year, but he's got some Mike Gundy to him. Now, the difference is that Clemson has still been competitive. Now, this year, they're obviously off to an awful start. They're 1-3. They may not be that good this year, but even in their down years recently, they're still winning 9-10 games. It's not like the program has completely collapsed, but there was a legitimate stretch there where it's like, this is the best coach in the sport. Clemson is the program in college football. He won 2 natties at Clemson. This isn't Alabama, and he's turned them into a blue blood, but he doesn't like the portal. He doesn't like NIL. He doesn't like all these things, and he's very old school. And look, he's still recruiting really well. That's one thing Gundy was not doing. They were not recruiting that well out of high school at Oklahoma State. Dabo has all this talent coming back this year. So it's like, okay, maybe Dabo can be the outlier. Maybe his way can work. They were competitive against Texas in the playoff game last year. He's got all these guys coming back, first-round picks everywhere on defense. They're 1-3, and their one win, they barely beat Troy. They were down 2 scores at halftime. So you look at them since 2020, again, some good years, right? 10-2, lost in the Sugar Bowl in the COVID year. 10-3 the next year, 11-3, 9-4, 10-4. These aren't bad teams. That's a top 20 program, but for like 7 years before that, it was a consistent top 5, top 6 program. So, and now they're 1-3 this year, maybe the worst year he's ever going to have at Clemson. So it's one of those things where, has this thing completely collapsed? No, it's still a good program. They're still doing good things, even though they haven't so far this year. But this thing has slipped, right? Like, I would say Clemson has gone from a consensus top 6-8 program that was there for about a half decade, maybe a little longer, to it's probably a top 20 program right now, and that's a big drop-off from what they've been used to. So keep an eye on Dabo. I think he would almost guarantee to get another year next year, but the cracks are starting to show, and listen to his press conferences. He's feeling the heat. All right, lastly, Sam Pittman. It's hot. I mean, like Mike Gundy, they almost fired him in the offseason. They decided to keep him, bring him back, and they just find the craziest ways to lose. I mean, it is incredible. A lot of you guys know I cover the Chicago Bears here at Chat Sports. The Bears find ways to lose. Arkansas finds ways to lose. They have lost 2 weeks in a row when they're driving with the football for a chance to win the game, fumble the ball inside the 10-yard line. They did it against Ole Miss, who's a top 15 team, and they just did it against Memphis when they only needed a field goal against Memphis. Ole Miss is at least understandable. You needed a touchdown to win the game. Like, okay, Ole Miss or Memphis, you almost could have just sat on it and kicked the field goal. The kid fumbles and they lose. You're just like, my God. I mean, that happens 2 weeks in a row. And I really liked Pittman when they first got him in there. You know, he's kind of a badass lifetime offensive line coach. In 2021, they won 9 games. They almost beat Alabama, and that's when Saban still had it rolling there. And then they've kind of been just stuck in the middle the last couple of years. And I like Taylon Green, this talented quarterback. They bring Bobby Petrino back. The offense is rolling, but the defense hasn't been good the last few years, and they just find the craziest ways to lose these games. And why not come full circle? Remember this? Remember when Bobby Petrino infamously had the motorcycle accident, gave the press conference, and they had to fire him? Why not make him the interim? It'd be a hell of a story. I think only at Arkansas that could happen. By the way, just a little bonus here. Keep an eye on John Gruden for this job if it opens up. I think that's a dark horse name to follow here for the University of Arkansas, but I think the Sam Pittman days are likely over here. All right, which big-name head coach gets fired next? Obviously, Mike Gundy is out at Oklahoma State. Who's next? Is it someone I didn't mention? Is it someone I did? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. See you guys next time.